So, let me see here. What position is it in when it does the cutting off my chin phenomenon? Yeah, that's just way too far for my short little arms to reach. And then I have to shout because the audio can't hear me. So I'm using the mirror, figuring out where I have to hold this to get the picture to look right, so that I can stop cutting off my chin in the video. And which way is it doing the wrong thing? So when I have it here and I somehow had it like this or something, and it's like, I have no chin and it's so frustrating to watch this video. It's like, move the frickin' camera just a couple inches higher. It's driving me crazy. Okay, so trying to just keep it like this all the time with a little bit of leeway, and it has to be out here. Hi! Sammy wants breakfast. Oh, did I step on you? Sammy wants breakfast. He wants breakfast. And we don't have a hurricane. What is this? Hurricane Florence or something? I don't remember what the name is. I just got up. I took a Vivarin. I don't like taking Vivarin. Oh, we don't need to see all my menstrual pads and stuff on the table. Okay. My books that I have not used, that I wanted to be using while I was here. And look at this. Tree identification. Mushroom identification. Edible wild plants. I wanted to get into all this stuff, and I just northeast foraging. Northeast foraging. And invasive plants. Invasive plants, it turns out that my mom has this exact same book. Had, I should say. And wildflowers of the southern Appalachians. There's just so much stuff that I can learn. This book says that, oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, I don't even remember what it's called. Yeah, it has jewelweed in here, and okay, is it, yeah, I don't know how to make this focus, to focus on something, but it talks about, actually, I can't see that in the camera. Well, I just wanted to see if I could get the camera to focus on that. Yeah, it says you can eat them, jewelweed, and I should probably get a tissue instead of making a video while my nose is running. It says you can eat jewelweed, but I think it says you have to cook it first. And I tried eating just a teensy little bit. Hi, Sammy. I should feed you instead of fooling around on my camera. so that you don't have to eat my socks. I tried, eating an extremely small piece of jewelweed leaf, and I believe in using the universal edibility test, which was from the military, I think. And I don't officially use that test according to the instructions, but I do just take an extremely cautious approach of trying something new. I use an extremely tiny bit of the plant if somebody says it's edible, and just chew a little bit and spit it back out so that I don't actually swallow like solid parts of the leaf. So I have like only the juice of the leaf in my mouth, and even then I spit a bunch more times so that I have like barely any juice from this plant that I'm not familiar with. And then I just wait all day long and I observe my symptoms, and like any strange or uncomfortable sensations that I have indicate that it has something in it that's a little bit toxic. And when I say it's a little bit toxic, I don't mean it's going to make you drop dead instantly. I mean, if someone says it's edible, it's probably not going to cause instant death, because they almost always know about which plants cause instant death. Like, nobody will say something is edible if it causes instant death. That's pretty much well known. But if it makes you a little bit sick or causes some kind of a problem, then there will be some people saying it's edible, some people not knowing it's edible. It'll be in kind of a gray area. Are you trying to scratch your back? I can scratch your back, but I'm sitting over here. And I think jewelweed is one of those things, because I had never heard before that jewelweed was edible, but I'm very ignorant. Like, I'm very aware that there is so much more to learn about plants and their uses. Even just identifying them. Like, I will learn to identify a plant one time and then forget about it a few months later, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that plant is either boneset or some other thing that looks like boneset. Like, I vaguely remember that there's a toxic look-alike that you need to watch out for, which is good. Like, that's what you should remember, that this plant might possibly have a poisonous look-alike that you want to avoid. So I remember that about boneset, and it turns out snake root is the one that looks similar, and I have learned, for the time being, how to tell them apart. It's hard to explain. It's with boneset, the leaves look as though I can't hold the camera in my hand and like make this gesture, but like the leaves the stem appears to be puncturing through the leaf, even though it's not really actually puncturing through it, but it looks like the stem goes through the leaf on boneset. Whereas on snake root, the leaves have actual stalks. So anyway, not important, because I'm not going to use either one of them at the moment, because even boneset was described as unpleasant and nauseous, and I can use that word as an adjective. It is a nauseous plant. Not I'm feeling nauseous, because they say you're supposed to say I'm feeling nauseated, but it is a nauseous plant. Oh my gosh. Chronic fatigue syndrome means my arms get tired when I'm holding a weighted object out at arm's length for 5 minutes. The camera, that is. I'm trying to backtrack and remember what I was saying, because I just went off topic, And I never edit these videos. uh, well, it was about, oh, jewelweed. So I ate a very tiny bit of the juice of a jewelweed leaf. And I also tested a couple other things like peppergrass for the first time that day, which is a bad idea. You shouldn't try more than one unfamiliar plant on the same day, because then you don't know which one caused the problem. And that's exactly what happened to me. I'm going to give you my theory of why it takes so long for the poison symptoms to occur. I think that some plant poisons don't get absorbed right away when you eat them, and they go, I can't hold the camera and do this, but they go all the way down through your intestines, la 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 la, they're still not being absorbed, and then finally when they reach the large intestine, towards the very end, they're starting to get absorbed into the body. So it could be like 12 hours after you eat something, or even like within the next day. I don't know the exact number of hours, but it can be a long time after you eat something that you start to have some kind of poisoning symptom. And when I say poisoning, other people are like, oh, you shouldn't even describe it as poisoning. I mean, I don't mean I'm gonna die. Like, it's not that bad of a poisoning symptom. It's a symptom that something is wrong, because all plants have some kind of toxic substances in them. They don't want to be eaten. They're not put on this earth for the purpose of being eaten by us. So their substances are not designed to be used by our body. We have had to adapt to toxic substances. And so, you know, your body can be better or worse at metabolizing the plant poisons. And since I was on the Feingold diet when I was a child, I have shown that I'm sensitive to some chemicals and don't metabolize poisons as well as some people do. And so anyway, the jewelweed, I ate just a tiny bit of it, and later on that day, or that night, in the middle of the night, I had this feeling, I should call it sedation, a feeling of being sedated, which was unpleasant, a feeling of kind of a tingly numbness all over my body. And I didn't know if it was the peppergrass or the jewelweed, because both of them were something new I had never tried before. And and the feeling was so disturbing. Like, even I am sensitive and I am paying attention a lot to the slightest symptom. So it was disturbing, and like I took a caffeine pill in the middle of the night. I keep saying I hate having to use caffeine pills. Caffeine is my one compromise. I really hate using any drugs at all. But I took a caffeine pill in the middle of the night to make myself feel better, because I felt like I was sedated. I felt like my body sort of wants to shut down or not breathe quite enough. And I've had apnea. I have had sleep apnea many times, and so I'm aware of that feeling that I'm going to be not breathing when I fall asleep. I know when it's going to happen, kind of, based on the way I feel. I'm like, oh, I have that feeling again. I don't feel right. I'm going to stop breathing when I fall asleep. Sammy's back there. So anyway, obviously I survived, but I'm a little skeptical that jewelweed would be a good thing to eat. I've tried a little bit of peppergrass again, and didn't really observe the same problem happening. Although I'm still not 100% certain, but I didn't think it was the peppergrass. So I think jewelweed causes a numbing sensation, which is why it's used for poison ivy treatment. And it causes that numbing sensation when you eat it, and it causes the numbness all over your body. Whereas if you're just using it on the poison ivy, it causes local numbness on the skin where it's applied, and maybe not much of it gets absorbed. This is theoretical because I only tried it one time with poison ivy. I haven't had any problems with poison ivy, like hardly at all, since I've been living in Pennsylvania. And here, I came to West Virginia, and I have this, like, poison ivy all over my ankle here. So, either the poison ivy is different here in West Virginia, which it could be. I mean, the stuff that I encounter looks a certain way. Or it could be because I'm eating synthetic vitamins, and synthetic vitamins cause your body to become allergic to everything. Your allergies to anything at all are increased if you're using any synthetic vitamins. And I've been eating cereal, which has lots of synthetic vitamins in it, and I've discovered, and I've read about this, that's a whole separate story of how I found out about synthetic vitamins being the cause of allergies. If you stop all synthetic vitamins, make sure that there aren't any added to your food. Like bread even has a few synthetic vitamins, but not a lot. But it'll have like synthetic thiamine and synthetic niacin or something like that added to it. So I'm watching birds fly by outside the window. There's so much that I just can't capture on film. It was kind of beautiful, the way that they just like soared up and then curved around. So yeah, synthetic vitamins might be the reason why I'm having more of a reaction to poison ivy right now. But this is going on way too long. How long is that? Oh my god, 17 minutes. That's the worst one yet. Good grief. Okay, it's time for me to feed the cat. This little guy has been patiently waiting, hanging out in my room. He came to my door and he said, meow. He said, meow. Okay. I have trouble operating. Why does it make you do that? That's so annoying. I'm annoyed because when I try to zoom out, when I try to press the zoom out button, like when you're pressing zoom in to look at something far away, you can just press and hold the button and it goes and it smoothly zooms in. When you try to press the zoom out button to come back to the normal size, you have to go click, 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 and like it doesn't respond. It doesn't even respond on a one-to-one click. Like you click it once and it will come back in a little bit, and then you click like 2 or 3 more times and it does nothing. So you're sitting there going click, 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 and it won't zoom back in. And then finally you press another time and it comes back in. Like this is, I could go on so many topics of how I hate appliances and computers and electronic devices, and maybe that should be like the topic of my YouTube channel of ergonomics. Why I hate this or that appliance. But okay, this is like the longest video I've ever done. And our phone is ringing.